Today I'm going to talk about a fairly special pen. It's a vintage pen, which is a type of pen I don't review that often, and it is a desk pen. For those of you not familiar with the concept of a desk pen, I mean you can use any pen on any desk, but sometimes some pens come with a stand, and you just sort of these pens don't have a cap. You just have the stand, and you put the pen in there so that it stands on your desk, and you can just pick it out and you can write with it. And this is a vintage desk pen. Will approached me and he said, more or less, you don't really have a whole lot of American vintage pens, do you? And I said, no. And he said, well, let me send you one. So, Will, thanks a lot. He sent me this very nice Esterbrook desk pen, which I have to say I immediately fell in love with. Esterbrook was a lower tier brand. So this was not the Mont Blanc of its time. It was cheaper, and I should probably say more inexpensive in the politically correct parlance of our times, but these were not the most expensive pens. And yet, these days, Esterbrook pens have a large fan base. A lot of people collect them. The prices are good, they're acceptable, they're not hundreds of dollars, and it's, you know, that's all pretty cool. So, today we'll talk about this pen. I think in the future I should do a shootout, just reaching around my desk here, between this pen and that pen. It's my only other desk pen, the Platinum desk pen. But for now we'll be talking about this. I think this has some very nice features. First of all, this desk base is really heavy. This is, I mean, with this, the Platinum pen, that's pretty much plastic. You can easily pick that up. This is heavy. I'm not sure whether this is stone of some kind, but it's a very nice, a good weight. You will not knock this over. Also, it's highly reflective. You can probably see the blue lights of my camera in there, so that's quite cool. You can move around this bit to sort of align the pen to your tastes, which I enjoy. Then you have the actual pen. I'll cover the parts of this pen, and we'll do a writing sample. When it comes to the parts of this pen, there isn't a whole lot to talk about because it's a fairly simple pen, but that's okay. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's fairly simple. Will was kind enough to hook me up with two nibs, two different feeds. Currently, I have the Esterbrook nibs are numbered. Currently on there is a 2284 nib, and the other one is a 2284 nib too, but it has a different feed. The feed on this one is flat, and the feed that I have on there is more rounded off. I haven't tried this one yet. I'm sure it's going to do fine. The beauty of these nibs is that they are a bit like Pelican, so you can just unscrew the nib and feed unit and screw another nib and feed unit in, which is quite nice. Okay, so we have the nib. Let's start with the nib today. It says Esterbrook 2284. It says made in USA, and it is a factory stub nib. Which is quite nice. I like that. You'll see that in the writing sample. It gives a nice bit of line variation, and it's a nice width. Not too broad, not too fine. I like it. Now we have the section. Maybe you want to see a close-up of the nib. I suddenly realize. Well, there you go. And this is that rounded feed. The other feed is more flat. Okay, then we have the section. As you could probably just see, the section is nothing too fancy. It's tapered, and then it flares out a bit. That's okay. Then we have the barrel. The barrel. There's a small step down here, but it's very minor, and that I'm sure maybe that is to make sure it stays put in that base. The section is not slippery. It's not extremely textured, but it's just not. It's smooth without being slippery, if you catch my drift. We have the barrel. The barrel is a bit more shiny, and on there is the lever, which you use to fill the pen. So there's a rubber sac in there, or a latex sac, whatever. You put it in a bottle of ink, you operate the lever, you pull it out, and then a sac in there is compressed, and then when you let go of the lever, it is depressed, and then it draws up ink. So that's quite nice. And then you have this end, which is a see-through bit, which you can in fact unscrew. So making this, you could actually carry this pen around. It's fairly easy, because it's you can disassemble it and make it a lot smaller, which I enjoy and which was definitely useful for shipping for Will. So there you have it. This is not a small pen, as you can see, but that's as with most desk pens. This is that platinum desk pen. You see they all have this sort of tapered, long shape. It's part of the desk pen allure, I think, and that's pretty much all there's to it. So again, Will, thanks a lot. Oh, and I see there's some print. What does it say on the base? It says Esterbrook, made in USA. Okay, well, that was clear. Will, thanks a lot for the pen. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a very fascinating little pen. Very pleased to use this. I'll do a writing sample, and that's all there's to it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Okay, so what we have as here is an Esterbrook desk pen. I have just taken this from the stand. I haven't written with this for I think at least 36 hours. As you can see, it wrote straight away. There was no hard start, there was nothing, it just wrote. The nib is a 2284. Esterbrook numbers the nibs. And the ink, if I'm not mistaken, is Conway Stewart Bodmin. Is that it? It's one of those new Conway Stewart inks. For some reason I always like black inks in a desk pen. I don't know why, but I think it looks nice. Okay, let's do some writing. You may occasionally hear an odd sound. Not sure whether you hear that, but because this is a long pen, I sometimes rub against a bit of my tripod. Okay, so this writes well. Writing is pretty smooth. There is no real scratchy feeling. Maybe a little bit of feedback, but that's not in a bad way. I kind of enjoy that. Let's do some fast writing. See how well this feed keeps up. Well, looks good to me. I don't see any skipping. Line variation. It is a steel nib, but it is somewhat stubbish. As you can see, I'm not applying any pressure here. Gives you some line variation because of the shape of the nib. Flex, well, it is a steel nib, and this being vintage, I don't want to push it too hard. So you can definitely get some line variation, I would say. Not just from the shape of the nib, but the tines will also open up a little bit under pressure. Hello. So there you have it. An Esterbrook desk pen. Quite a fascinating pen. This may not be the most amazing looker you've ever seen, but it writes very nicely, and I have no problems grabbing this pen when I need to do a fast bit of writing as it's on my desk. So, I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.